because you didn't answer your phone. I was sick with worry. I'm channeling my New Yorker now. I was sick with worry. It's like the guy who calls his mother and says, "Mother, how are you?" She says, "Well, I haven't eaten in 2 days." "You haven't eaten in 2 days? Why not?" She said, "Well, I didn't want to have my mouth full when you called." Anyway, 193 households, 3 of which took significant water in their homes. And we are working on this now. This is being handled. But I want you to now just take a moment and close your eyes. And we're going to do what we do. And we're going to do it from a place that's easy because we sit in a cool and comfortable room. We've got coffee and we've got dry clothes and a dry floor and a dry car and a dry home waiting for us. So all of that dryness and all of that coolness and all of that stuff we can take for granted. We're going to affirm and know for the people who, for this morning, it is a struggle to imagine. And these are some of our Creative Life family, and they are our neighbors in our counties, and they are people. I'm going to ask you to extend your knowing for some people I know in Hampshire Fannett and Winnie Stoll and Anahuac and all along that corridor south of I-10 that runs over toward Port Arthur, where there is still flooding going on today. And we're going to know for them peace and courage and a way forward. And I also want to know for them a little bit of attitude, a little bit of that wonderful Texas energy. It says, you can knock me down, but I'll get back up. And I am reminded in a previous storm, during the TV news about it, they had a rancher. They stuck a microphone in his face and they said, "So, what do you make of all this?" And behind him you could see just water. You could see barns, you could see pens with just flooded out. And this man spat some tobacco juice in a cup, and he looked around and he said, "Well, drought's over." So I want to know some of that too. Some of that, this isn't going to get me down for long. For there is one life, one power, one presence. We may call it God, we may call it universal intelligence, doesn't matter what we call it. What matters is it called us. It called us from within itself out into the world to be its agents of healing, to have a clear knowing, especially when others are having a hard time with that. So this is the work we do here. And now, having had this knowing, we release it. Where do we release it? We release it into spiritual law that knows how to bring it about, brings all things to pass, it knows what's needed and where. And it is about that work now. So I invite you to just relax into this sweet, wonderful day that we share together as we sit here for a moment surrounded by the beauty of this music. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one and all is well. I invite you now to open yourself to the miracle-working higher power and symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your right hand, letting my words act as your own for your own inner acceptance and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems, while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I become ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words, I surrender.
I surrender.
Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, now I say, I forgive.
I forgive.
Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only constructive, positive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose.
I choose.
I now center upon that one special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing this idea is already acted upon and brought to pass. And seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled, and gratefully speak these words, I accept.
I accept.
Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release.
I release.
Now in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me who's touched my life in powerful, wonderful ways. This could be a friend, a family member, a teacher, or a mentor of mine. It could be my neighbor next door, next county, next state. It's someone who's not physically present with me in this room this morning. So I greet this being of light and consciousness, turning toward that face I see in my mind's eye and saying, I'm grateful for the good in your life. And now I open my eyes to the world around me, turn joyfully to these folks here and say to each of them, I'm grateful for the good in your life.